Shannon Brown in Natural Birth Stories wrote, I am passionate about showing women that they do have options about their birth experience. Birth doesn't have to be a scary experience filled with medical interventions, and more importantly, it doesn't have to be a one-size-fits-all event where you are told or pressured into doing anything that makes you uncomfortable. Now, I have recently discovered that I too have a passion for pregnancy, labor, and birth. It drove me to even desire to get my doula certification, which basically means that I am certified as a birth educator and as an emotional birth support for a woman and her family through the pregnancy and postpartum periods. In my family, I always grew up really only observing one form of birth. That form of birth is what I think we could consider the typical American birth, where a woman goes into labor, goes to the hospital, has her OBGYN present. She's given Pitocin if her labor isn't progressing as quickly as the doctors would like. That makes her contractions stronger and closer together. If that pain becomes unbearable, she is offered an epidural and most of the time is able to birth a perfectly happy and healthy baby. If anything does go wrong, a C-section is always available there at the hospital. This is the sort of birth that I've observed women in my family have, women in my life have, and the sort of birth that I always thought I would have. I was amazed to learn about all of these different options that are available to women during birth. And at the same time, I was astonished that I was learning about these options for the very first time through a documentary on Netflix. I wasn't learning about them from my medical professional or from my mother or my sisters. I was learning about them for the first time from a documentary on Netflix. Now, I am not personally an advocate for home birth over hospital birth, or for birth with drugs versus birth without drugs, or birth with an OBGYN or with a midwife. But what I am an advocate for is that women know what their options are, that they receive birth education, and that they then receive support for whichever option they happen to choose. Now, there are people trained to be able to provide this education and support for women and their families. These people are called doulas. Now, what is a doula? Just as a marathon runner on the day of the race has people there along the sidelines supporting them all the way to the finish line and has people along the way offering them water and nourishment, a mother in the marathon of labor also too needs this sort of support. A doula is there to be able to fulfill that role, to be able to be the cheerleader on the sidelines, offering words of encouragement, to be able to be the person providing water and nourishment throughout the entire process, to provide pain relief in that way as well. But more importantly, she is there to be able to make sure that the mother is 100% in control of every decision that is made throughout the entire process that will affect her body. Now to close, I wanted to share one more quote from the midwife Ina May Gaskin. She says, "Whenever and wherever you intend to give birth, your experience will impact your emotions, your mind, your body, and your spirit for the rest of your life." My hope is that as we bring children into this world, we might be empowered with the knowledge of all of the options available to us, and that we might also receive the support that we need in those decisions, no matter which option we choose. Thank you.